Hi everybody, welcome back. Wow, I have been inundated with questions and discussions over the last week, and before I revert back to my usual type videos, we are going to have another good chat about old news which propped up recently. The main point of discussion today came from Keep New York City Trash Free on YouTube and Markle News 1 on Instagram. The first issue raised was about Meghan and the paparazzi, Meghan and the media, etc. But before we even tackle all the links and intricate webs, gossip, speculation, and so forth, let me share a few interesting facts with you. Getting into trouble with, getting involved with, or setting up paparazzi shots did not start when Meghan joined the royal family. She got a lot of criticism for setting up paparazzi shots herself and or via her agent at the time and long before she met Harry. One prime example was in May 2015 when she was in the United Kingdom and arranged a catwalk set up to photograph her as she approached and entered a trendy London restaurant called Toto. Now you can see the photographs and details on the screen. This was, however, also not the first time, and since she joined Suits, there were a number of incidents. I asked about this and I asked straight out. And before the trolls send me email again, I have two subscribers who worked or works in the film industry that I know of. One is retired after an accident on set, and if she is listening, I would love for her to contact me again. I've not heard from her in a while, and I just want to know that she is okay. All right, moving on. The other one is still working in the film industry. So, okay, I asked about this paparazzi thing, and she told me that it is not totally uncommon for actors and models, etc., to do this kind of thing, as it makes them appear more popular than they really are. Famous and well-known actors, though, are unlikely to do it as they are recognized anyway. So it is mostly the mid-level and low-level actors and actresses who tend to do this. Or alternatively, when a catwalk is set up, it mostly has some kind of agenda. For example, a restaurant would want an actor filmed eating or entering their establishment, as it is good advertising. The restaurant may belong to a friend of the actor or actress, or they were promised something in return. However, my subscriber said the reason why Meghan Markle was called out for this were for a couple of reasons. And here they are. She started doing this when she was still relatively unknown, which is, in a way, understandable, and if done occasionally, would have been ignored or forgotten. Of course, later it became an even bigger issue and even more talked about when Meghan alleged that it was her father setting up paparazzi shots that caused the rift, something she herself was known to do. My subscribers said that when they heard about this, they actually had a good few laughs about it. But anyway, the London paparazzi shots were very obvious because Meghan was not well known in London or in England at the time, and although her agent denied that she set it up, there was no reason why a photographer would randomly turn up to take Meghan's picture. And although Meghan pretended to ignore the photographer, it was obvious that she expected it, as she was calm, and in one of the photographs you can even spot her smiling at the photographer. Even in Finding Freedom, the authors admitted that Meghan colluded with photographers when they wrote, while Meghan, before she met Harry, occasionally set up a paparazzi photo or let information slip out to the press, she did everything in her power to protect the privacy of her relationship with the prince with the press. The other talked about thing about Meghan and her paparazzi walks or pap walks, obviously behind her back, was how she overcame one specific obstacle. And guys, this is really funny because she wasn't exactly an A-list actress or supermodel. Her pap shots did not sell for top dollar, if at all. As a matter of fact, these London pap shots did not sell at all at the time. It only started to sell when news broke that she was dating Harry. Anyway, paparazzi are called that because they are mostly freelancers and therefore not on a salary or retainer. So obviously, if given a choice, they would rather be out at high-end spots, airports, or out looking for tips on the rich and famous than waiting around for a C-list supporting actor. However, Meghan solved this problem by becoming buddies with some of these photographers, something her friend, the equally fame-hungry Jessica Mulroney, helped her with. One such photographer is George Pimentel. So close was the friendship with George Pimentel that not only would he take pictures of her and Jessica at events or on the red carpet, but she was so nice to him that he gladly photographed her at a number of different parties and even traveled to England to get shots of Meghan on her wedding day. In 2018, George said, Meghan tried to promote herself in any way she could from the start. With Harry, she has struck gold, and she knows it. I actually think she's now getting her photograph taken so often that she's getting sick of it. Be careful what you wish for. You may just get it, he added. George also said that Harry and Meghan recognized him in the crowd and that Meghan smiled and waved at him. And on the screen are the actual photographs he took, which proves that exact statement. Other photographers may now regret not photographing her or declining to partake in pap walks at the time. But as one photographer said, I lost her, but I would not have made a dime out of the pictures at the time anyway. George wasn't the only photographer Megsy got friendly with, but as illustration for this discussion, I'm not going to talk about each one of them. Suffice it to say, George has his own studio and is a well-known celebrity photographer. And I'm posting his photographs of Meghan and Harry smiling and waving at him. And other than that, you can visit his website to view his work and read more about him. I truly do not want a copyright strike, and the only reason why I'm using these pictures is because those photographs were sold to the mass media and appeared in many newspapers, and therefore fair use apply. What we need to now consider before we talk more about paparazzi and photographers is how they make their money. Independent photographers make use of agencies like Flash News and Getty Images and Backgrid, blah blah blah, to sell their photographs to the media, be it New York Times, The Express, the Daily Mail, or whoever. And the more news outlets it is sold to, the more money the photographer makes. The more desirable the subject of the photograph is, the more copies will be sold, and the higher the price per copy. And the higher the price per copy will be, the more money Splash News, Getty, Backgrid, etc. will make as they take a commission, and the more money the photographer will make at the end of the day. As you will see, the 2015 photos of Meghan in London was distributed via Splash News. And as you all know, we heard a lot of Backgrid and Splash News since Meghan met Harry. But as you can see, her relationship with them went back much, much further than her relationship with Harry. So let's get to Jeff Rayner of Coleman Rayner, who took the infamous photographs of Thomas Markle at an internet cafe, being fitted for a suit prior to the wedding, and sitting at a Starbucks. Unfortunately for Mr. Markle and Mr. Rayner, they were caught on CCTV setting up the photographs, with Jeff Rayner even moving the computer screen at one point to get a better angle of Mr. Markle, and thus it became obvious that it was a setup and 100% staged. The reason why this was embarrassing to Harry and Meghan was because shortly before this was leaked, Kensington Palace officials put out an official letter written by Jason Knopf in which he described how Mr. Markle had been followed and harassed by photographers and journalists, and in which he urged editors not to publish pictures of Mr. Markle, and in which he called on them to stop pursuing Mr. Markle. But let's quickly take a peek at Jeff Rayner, the photographer. Jeff Rayner is from Canterbury in Kent, but based in Los Angeles. He's married and the father of one. Jeff runs the picture agency Coleman Rayner with business partner Mark Coleman. Again, you can visit the Coleman Rayner website, and I'll post a link in the description box should you wish to go and look at their work and read more about them. The only thing I still want to point out about Coleman Rayner is that they are their own agents and distributors, and also act as agents and distributors for other photographers. In other words, they also buy photographs from other photographers. And this is important to what I'm going to tell you later. Coleman Rayner's biggest and most important client is AMI, which owns the National Enquirer, US Weekly, Globe, and OK magazines, amongst other publications, and Coleman Rayner services various AMI titles with words and pictures. Coleman Rayner is also on a high five-figure monthly retainer with AMI, and Jeff Rayner is a close friend of AMI's Chief Content Officer, Dylan Howard. But let's forward a little. So who is Carl Lawson, the photographer who is now Thomas Markle Sr.'s best buddy and YouTube channel partner? Well, Carl Lawson is 53, born in New York, and made a name for himself for photographing Paris Hilton crying in the back of a police car after she was caught drunk driving. Carl Lawson has also been a contributing photographer for Rolling Stone magazine since 2002. He is married and lives in Hollywood, California. He also has 2 books on the market. As you all know, Carl and Thomas has now partnered up for a YouTube channel they named Remarkable Friendship. According to Thomas and Carl was the first to photograph Thomas in Mexico. So how does it all connect? Hang on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen. This is even funnier than Meghan becoming buddies with paparazzi and photographers. Here goes. Carl Lawson often acts as paparazzo for Coleman Rayner. Carl is actually known as one of the most ruthless celebrity paparazzi on the circuit, and has had run-ins with Mel Gibson and was knocked down by Louis Tomlinson of One Direction at LAX airport. In March 2018, Carl Lawson hunted down Thomas Markle and found him near his home in Rosarito, Mexico. Lawson then snapped a few pictures of Thomas Markle in various unflattering stances and looking disheveled. And a couple of these semi-blurred photographs made it to the papers and tabloids. So, ta-da! Enters Thomas' savior, Jeff Rayner, who then persuaded Thomas Markle to pose for a series of candid shots. Those that we saw at the tailor, the internet cafe, and Starbucks. Voila! Done! And the rest is history. Not quite. What I'm told is that it is thus likely, according to people in the industry, remember, that Rayner used Carl Lawson's photographs as leverage and that it was an actual ploy to get Thomas to consent to the photographs that Rayner took of Thomas. Coleman Rayner earned approximately $135,000 from the photographs Rayner took of Thomas that day, and likely paid Thomas in the region of $1,500 in cash for the shoot. The lesson out of all of this is, once you create a runaway train, there is no stopping it until it crashes. Meghan herself toyed with the paparazzi in her desperate need for fame, even befriending them and inviting them to venues and events where she would be. And then, when she met Harry, she started to play the hot and cold game with them. One day, she would be posing for them or leaking a tidbit here and there, and the next day, she would pretend to be very upset by their presence, and that sparked a frenzy and upped the value of any photograph of her and her family. Just a tiny example to explain what I just said. Imagine for a moment that Meghan and Harry had done the right thing and visited Meghan's father in Mexico before the wedding. Imagine they got a good photographer, maybe Lawson or even Rayner or whoever, to take a few family photographs. Had they done that, a photograph of Mr. Thomas would not have been worth that much. And all of this would have and could have been prevented. By now, we also know that Carl Lawson and Jeff Rayner know one another, but it is also likely, no, more than likely, that Jeff Rayner and George Pimentel know one another because George does not only work in Canada but also in the United States and elsewhere. The same goes for lesser known photographers and paparazzi and freelancers and many of those who are still trying to get into the circuit. They need to sell their work somewhere and through someone. And Coleman Rayner is on the forefront of the agents and distributors in the United States. Okay, now we get to the next thing. What happens to the photographs which do not sell immediately or which appears not to sell because it does not appear in the media immediately, like we have seen in the case of those 2015 photographs of Meghan Markle? Now, my dear friends, that is a whole different ballgame. Well, a photographer can cut his losses, save his photographs on a disk, file it, and hope that one day, for some reason, those stored photographs will be worth something, like this photographer most likely did with those photographs of Meghan Markle. Or they can decide to sell it to a company like the Mega Agency. The Mega Agency and other agencies like them keep archives of millions of pieces of content on a digital platform. And Mega alone sells and distributes as many as 13,000 images and videos to global media publishers in 40 countries daily. Of course, agencies like Mega do not pay as much because they carry the risk of the picture selling or not selling. The other thing in their favor is, though, that an image will be available on their platform much, much longer. And although it sells for less, it is available for a long period of time, and not only to the media, but also to people like us, content creators. Even I have once paid for a photograph, not from Mega, but another similar agency. And just to show you how it works, I'm taking you to real-time images and a photograph of Donovan Johnson and Geoffrey Ragland, which was the photograph I was looking for ages ago when I was busy making a video about the Ragland family. Now, I'm not going to go through the process right now because I do not wish to register, but what you do is to create an account, register, and log in. Once you've done that, you click on download, whereafter you will get a prompt to pay for your photograph, whatever that price may be. And it can be anything from $1 to $1,000. Once you, as a creator, become aware of these agencies and sites, it can become like a black hole that sucks you in. I promise you, ask me, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Okay, now, the mega agency is a bit more upmarket, but there are others where you can literally find semi-blurred photographs of celebrities taking their trash out in their pajamas, okay? However, this is where even more danger lies. Not all of these agencies are big registered businesses, and it could happen that someone just start collecting some candid shots one day, and somewhere down the line he creates a website and starts selling those. And unfortunately, there is where we find the creeps, the guys who have stored some pornographic material obtained from data dumps and phone hacks, and these are the guys who give normal or decent paparazzi a bad name. Not that other image distributors cannot act unethically or trod the line of being ruthless. It is, after all, a cutthroat world. But at least they have some kind of limit, are known, and have money and can be sued. But these undercover fly-by-nights can close their sites at a drop of a hat, or take their money and run. There is little to no accountability. So back to Meghan. Yes, she befriended the better-known paparazzi and photographers, but her greed, unfortunately, had also brought her in touch with the more seedy element. And that, my dear friends, is why our dear Duchess fears and fights and tries to control every word written about her and each photograph that is published. It has very little to do with her desire for money, but a whole lot to do with fear. We are all aware that the internet had been scrubbed before she married Harry, but guys, somewhere on a hard disk in someone's drawer is a photograph or video or information Mexie Daisy would not want us to see. Unfortunately, Meghan had sold her soul for fame and money before she met Harry. Also remember, to date, we have heard very little from Corey and Trevor, two men who shared her life intimately. In my opinion, their knowledge and opinions are as much a threat to Meghan as those photographs still floating in someone's drawer. We have heard a little from Nanaki Pretty, but we have not heard from Jessica Mulroney and Marcus Anderson, for example. And I can carry on and on and on like that and highlight person after person who have the power to hurt and damage Meghan Markle. But now we have Thomas Markle and Carl Larson and their YouTube channel. Do you expect some damaging revelations from Mr. Markle? Do you think Mr. Markle will be prepared to answer questions from the public? And why is Carl Larson doing this? Is he feeling sorry for Mr. Markle? Have they really become friends? Or is he being paid to do it? Maybe by Coleman Rayner. Or does he have some other motive? Maybe spite or revenge? Tell me what you think. I would love to know. Okay, guys and girls, I think this video is long enough. I hope it answered some of the questions out there, and I will see you back here soon enough with the next revelation. Until we meet again on the next video, take good care of yourselves. Bye.